Hello, 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 Christmas Flicksers. Welcome back to Chicks on Christmas Flicks, where we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. I'm KL Brady, and I'm back today with the season wrap-up show with Hallmark Enthusiast 247. I know this has been a long time coming, guys. I am so sorry. I'm falling a little behind because work has been a little bit crazy, but over the next coming couple of weeks, I will be getting updated, up to speed, and back in gear for season 4. So please stay tuned, but enjoy this episode until then. Thank you guys for listening. And welcome back to Chicks on Christmas Flicks. In the last segment, we highlighted our number 12 through 7 picks on our top 12 list. And now we're going to get to the top 6. I'm going to start with Brittney. So, what do you have as your number 6 movie?
Alrighty, well, you actually already covered it. My number 6 is Hanukkah on Rye with Yale Globus and Jeremy Jordan. And I loved it for all the reasons you did. The mail, because I mean, most people don't write handwritten letters anymore, so that was really fun. And I just loved Jeremy Jordan. I loved him in Holly and Ivy and the movies he's been in, so I'm really glad they brought him back. And like I said, I love the grandmas. They were hysterical. And I love when they do Hanukkah movies, you know, the Double Holiday, Love Lights Hanukkah, and then 8 Gifts to Hanukkah. And then they kind of went through it with a holiday date kind of halfway. But this one felt more natural. I mean, they all kind of do, but this one felt kind of like we already knew what was going on, but we were still getting kind of taught of like all the food and all the kind of traditions. And I really loved that. So it was really good. And like I said, the grandmas were just hysterical. And I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Yale Globus. I love her. I mean, she was a great addition to Hallmark this year. And I love her accent. It was so much fun. And so, it was just so, and like this movie, like so many people like were raving about it. Like this is like top, like everyone's like, this is my top 3. And it was like you said, it was just different. It was Hallmark, but it wasn't like, you know, we got to save a business, but they were enemies going to loved ones. And I just love how Jeremy Jordan, like, he wanted the best of her. He didn't want to like disrespect her and like take over the business. And he even said like, I'll try and get my dad to not be right here. Like, I just want you to succeed. And I love that he supported her but wasn't really like vindictive, you know, and kind of nasty and stuff. And even her parents weren't nasty. And I thought it was so funny when, like I said, the grandmas were fighting each other when they were in the restaurant, and the son and daughter on both sides, they went up to each other and they were like, I'm sorry, my mom's she's just bent on, like, I'm sorry, like, I like you, like, no problem, like, I'm sorry, she's just an older lady with a mission, like, I don't know what to tell you. So, but the last part, I have to say, like, I swear, I'm going to be 34 in 2 months, but I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm just such a sucker, because when we found out that their mothers were friends, I literally just sobbed. I was like, what a way to end this movie on top of the journey we've already been on. Like, that was so sweet, because when they first said that it was the same recipe, I'm like, how's that possible? Like, that just, what?
Yeah.
And then they showed the pictures, and it was their friends. The little girls were with each other during their hard times, and they leaned on each other, and like, I was just a mess. I was just like, that is the sweetest thing ever. And I cried for like the whole rest of when it was on, and it was just so good. It was good. I'm a sucker for a feel good movie, and it was just good.
That was a feel good movie, and it was so, like you said, it was so layered. You like the story?
Yeah,
was
so many different like plots to it, but all in one. It was just so good. I loved it.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So my number 6 movie is Ghosts of Christmas Always. Hallmark movie with Kim Matula, Ian Harding, Reginald Bell Johnson, and Lori Tan Chin. And I loved this movie. It was kind of a Dickens, a Christmas Carol retelling, but with some twists, right? And and this was very much like another movie that came on this season, but there was a lot of Dickens-like movies this season. That's what one thing I'll say. One thing I noticed. But I really like this because there's this team of like the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future. There's these teams that kind of go out and try to turn people that are rotten into good people, right? And so they do it fairly routinely, and so they kind of pick their marks, and they go for them, and they go and try to change these people, and so there's just a twist with this. They all three of the ghosts, they have a target that they have to go after, but things quickly you figure out something's not quite right with this guy, because he seems so nice. He's not like the cranky, grumpy Scrooges that you would think normally that the ghosts have to come after. So then you're wondering, like, okay, this guy's actually nice. He doesn't even realize how nice he is. So what's going on with this, and why are they, why is he being visited by the ghost? And then so as the movie goes on, you kind of figure out what's going on. But I loved it. I loved it. I love the acting. I love the story. I love to me it was a fresh retelling of the Dickens classic, right? Definitely a little twist at the end, and it just overall it was a feel good movie for me. So Ghost of Christmas always, and I watched this movie, I have to say. I can't even. I don't know how many times I watched it so many times that I had lost count of how many times
I actually finished. I rewatched it this morning, like literally hours before we did that. Like I can't even say a million good things about. I mean, this was another movie that everybody was like raving, like it was like the top, like, oh my goodness, so good. Because remember, Hallmark had that other one, It's Christmas Carol, with Carrie Fisher, that they did that too. And so I mean, just magic. I'm stuttered for words because it was just so good. I love that one.
Good. Yeah, me too. I did. So yeah, that ended up being like one of my faves. Truly one of my faves. Like, I will go to that one. Every time it comes on, I won't miss it. Like, I will always watch that movie. It was so good.
For sure.
Okay. Number 5. What is your number 5 movie?
Alrighty. Well, I have to say, I know we sound kind of repetitive, but the top 5 is always the hardest, I feel. I mean, it's always hard, but any of these movies could be anywhere at this point. But my number 5 is from Hallmark, and it's Lights, Camera, Christmas with Kimberly Sustad and John Brotherton. Did you feel that way? I know. It was so, I mean, literally a Hallmark movie-esque in a Hallmark movie. It was just so good. Like,
oh my gosh.
What we know goes on behind the scenes was in the movie. I mean, I swear, Kimberly Sustad could be in anything, and it's amazing. I just love her to pieces. So I love that she was in another movie this year. And John Brotherton, he was really good in this one. I love how he kind of seemed like he was a pretentious butthead in the beginning, but then they show different layers coming off to where, and he, like he said, he's like, it's not just for the movies. And I love the funny ideas she had where she put him in the make him like a big Eskimo with the big jacket. And I loved how he tried to help her. And it was just so good. I mean, the fact that they, like I said, put a Hallmark movie in a Hallmark movie, so to speak, was just, it was such a good idea, and it played off so well. They were great together. I love her, her and her mom trying to make the business go afloat, and they try to help it. And it was funny because they bought out the whole stores, and then she was like, yes, yes, yes. And he's like, and how quick can we bring back returns? And she was like, oh, just kind of funny stuff. It was really fresh. And that's what I kind of love how we were talking about, like, of course it's the same rom-com kind of thing, but it's a different way of getting there. And so I just love that it didn't seem like the same thing. I mean, we don't have Christmas movies coming to town too much, and so I just love the way they went with it. It wasn't like your same cookie cutter, even though we love cookie cutter, but it was just a different formula, and it was just really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And the fact I watched it a few times, and Kimberly's just great. She's a peach, so I just loved it.
Yeah. That definitely should. That's another one that probably should have made money.
Right, I know.
Oh gosh, but it was so good. I love that. I literally watched it like every time I saw it was on, and I was sitting in front of the TV. I watched it. It was so, and I love Kimberly Susted. I love her.
She's great.
She can do no wrong.
Exactly.
No wrong, zero wrong. So I love her. But my number 5 movie was A Hollywood Christmas from HBO Max. And I really enjoyed this. Now I have to tell you, I was like, it's another one of the new entries into the market, right? HBO Max is a new entry into the Christmas movie market. And I was like, how are they going to do this movie, right? But along the lines of Lights, Camera, Christmas, this was kind of a Christmas movie in a Christmas movie.
Oh, okay.
Where you have this director, right? She begins kind of living her own Christmas movie when this network executive kind of comes into the picture and basically tries to say that her passion and her life's work is pointless and useless. Why does anybody care about Christmas movies? Everything you could say against having Christmas movies, but then also everything you love about Christmas movies is in this movie. So it was so good. And then they had this character. She was really funny. Her name was Anissa Borrego, but she sounds like Mindy Kaling. Her voice, had that high pitch. She was hysterical. So the movie is really funny, and it has an Asian lead, Jessica Van, who is an Asian lead, and then she played against Josh Wicker, and so then you have the diversity. Anna Borrego, I think she looks like she's at least part Indian, right? So you have the diversity, but you have the Christmas movie in the Christmas movie. Actually, a Christmas movie in the Christmas movie and the Christmas movie. Yeah. So there's 3 layers of Christmas movies in the movie.
Oh wow.
Yes. Because the Hollywood director is directing a movie. Then you had her life becoming a movie. And then you had some dynamic between the stars of her movie, which was another element of it. So it's like 3 layers of it. It was so well put together, so good, so funny. I loved it. I can't even say enough good about it. I immediately watched it, not twice, but 3 times. It was a Saturday. I'll never forget. I put it on a Saturday. I watched it 3 times in a row.
Wow.
It was that good.
I just added it to my HBO list because I didn't hear that one. I don't know how it slipped through the cracks, but that sounds really good. And 3 different. I mean, that's a lot, and for them to put it together really well shows a lot. Because sometimes if you have that's too much. Sometimes in one movie, but if they can do it good,
You would think. When they started, I was like, you kind of think it's gonna be too much, and it ends up being so perfect. So how they put it together is just that was one very well put together, and it's like a major studio. I can't remember. I don't know if it's Warner Brothers or um, kind of an MGM something. It's like one of those major studios that actually put it together. So it was really good, seriously good. I really loved that movie. All right, number four. What's your number four movie?
Okay, my number four movie is from Hallmark, and it's The Royal Nanny with Rachel Scarston and Dan Gianette. I can't pronounce it. I love this movie. Like I loved Rachel and Dan together first and foremost, but her like I could not believe, and some people might not agree with me, which is totally fine, but for me, I felt like her accent was so good. Like a lot of the time,
I looked it up. You know, her mother is British.
Really?
So she probably grew up around the accent.
Oh, it had to be, because I mean, like,
yep.
I hate to. I don't want to
good.
sound negative, but like sometimes when they do accents, like it's just, you can tell it's not their voice, right? But like, she was so convincing. Like I'm like, is that really her? I mean, I knew it wasn't, but like, it felt like it was her regular voice. Like I just loved it. Like, and I loved how she actually really, really cared about the family. You know, because sometimes like when you come into these movies, like someone always has an underlying like agenda, but like she actually really cared. And I loved the lady who was a part of the agency that sent her there, that was Dan's like caretaker in a way, like who watched him grow up, and she was really sweet, and I love that. And I love when kind of like, as much as I love the mysteries, like I love when it's kind of like this, it's kind of a mystery in the movie, because it's like, you know, we get them on mysteries, but when you get them in like a Christmas movie that's not technically a mystery, that's really fun too. And I love like using an umbrella to try and like, you know, stop them, the bad guys, and just little quirks like that they threw in. And I really love the relationship between her and the princess, you know, his sister. That was really sweet when they were in the kitchen, and she just really cared, you know. And it was so funny, the kids with all, and I loved how like normally like in Crown for Christmas, you know how they said like, oh, Theodora's had so many nannies because she scares them off. I love when the kids, they did the balls in the van, and like they expect her to be like, I quit, but like she did it with them, you know. She kind of was playing around, and like, and I loved when they brought her to his house and the four of them were playing games, and they initiated her into the little fun group, and it was just really lighthearted and fun. And I loved all the scenery in the country, and I just loved, like, I loved her in Marry Me at Christmas with Trevor Donovan. I love that movie. And so I just love this movie. I mean, her accent was good. It just, everything. It was just a real big mystery that we didn't know what was going on. And the bad guy, I kind of called it, but then I didn't. I didn't think it was him. But then I'm like, well, you know what? He's kind of acting kind of weird, you know, and like quick to blame her, saying like, you're getting in a relationship with him. You shouldn't do, you know, just kind of things like that. But it was just really good. It was a fun, suspenseful movie. And it was all around, like, I just really enjoyed it. It was fun. It took your mind off things for a while. And it was really, really good.
It was so good. And I have to tell you, I called it, but for the wrong reason, right? So I called it right now, but for the wrong reason.
I know, it's hard.
It was so good. It was so good. I loved her accent, just like you. I said, good. No, this sounds too authentic. Exactly. I have to find out if she had some background. That's when I looked it up, and I found out that she's from Canada.
Oh, wow.
Her mother is from the UK. So she probably grew up hearing that.
Yeah, she had to have.
I feel like, because it's so genuine to me. I have a friend who is actually Kenyan, but she like went to like British boarding schools and stuff.
Oh,
so
cool.
She has the British accent. So I knew, like, I was like, no, the way she says certain things, it's like, no, that's too close to right.
Like, I know, it was good.
So yeah, no, I was really excited to see her in that role. I loved her accent. I loved the story. I loved the relationship with the prince. I loved the relationship with the princess. I loved the relationship with the kids. I loved the mystery. It was like so much. I really loved it. It's not on my list, but I loved
Right?
it. It was just too much this year.
Too many good ones.
It was it was too much, but I did love that one. My number four is Must Love Christmas, which was a CBS Christmas movie,
Oh, I forgot that one.
and it was so good. I love this. Now this one was one of those you could call it a cookie cutter kind of, because on the surface it kind of looks crisp. It looks cookie cutterish, right? So it's basically you have this popular author who has kind of gone underground, and so she decides she's kind of shied away from the press and all of this kind of stuff. She's a big best-selling author, romance author, which is probably what drew me to the story. So she has gone underground because somebody did kind of a takedown piece up on her in the past, and so now she's finally deciding to go out and do a book signing. Well, she goes to do the book signing, and of course, on the other side, you have Neil Bledsoe. Oh, I forgot to tell the actors. So it's Liza Lapira, Neil Bledsoe. You know Neil from Hallmark movies, right? And then Nathan Witt, also in a few Hallmark movies, but he's also done like a lot of Lifetime and a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, she goes to do this book signing. Neil plays a reporter who is assigned to do a story on her. She thinks he's coming around to do another takedown piece, but he's like trying to really, get to know her and do a genuine piece on her and be honest and truthful and all of this kind of stuff, but she doesn't take it that way. So she completely blows him off until she and he end up stranded in this little town, and very Christmassy little town, snowy Christmassy little town. So there's all this stuff going on, and then also in this snowy Christmassy little town is her high school sweetheart who their relationship kind of fell apart for reasons you don't really find out until the end. So it's kind of this love triangle, right? So you have her kind of pining for this high school sweetheart, but this reporter who is trying to dig up a good story on her, but also be honest and tell a good story on her, like a truthful story, not necessarily positive, but a truthful one. But anyway, so then you see these three interacting in this little town. So in that, you kind of have this the stranded story, right? So everybody's stranded in this little town. They can't get out because there's big snow and all this kind of stuff, and all of this stuff is happening. But what I love about this movie, so one, it's funny. Like it's like funny. Like I laugh out loud, and you some laugh at some movies, but this is really funny. So that's one thing I really loved about it. But the other thing I really love is it's another one of the list movies. Now, but it's not a list in the normal way you have a list. Normally, right, you have the list in the beginning of the movie where they have the list and they have to find somebody that matches all the qualities on the list, right? That's the normal way a list movie is. In this one, she actually has to figure out what she wants to be on the list, right? And she starts out the movie and she can only pick one quality that she wants on the list. And through the rest of the movie, she fills out the rest of the list, which is her top 5 things that she wants in a person so that she can put it out into the universe and find somebody that matches that. So for the rest of the movie, she's really discovering, as things happen in the movie, what qualities she finds important in a romantic character. So that's like, but it's another one of those very layered stories that seems cookie cutterish, but it's really not. And you think you know what's gonna happen, but there's more of a twist in it than you think there's gonna be. and so it kind of surprises you a little bit. I really love this movie, and I will say, very diverse movie. So, Neil Bledsoe we know, but Liza Lapira is Asian, and Nathan is I think he's Canadian, but he's like a person of color, right? So he looks like a Black American, but he's from Canadian, and he's probably got some African descent, some mixed African descent. So so it was a diverse movie, but it had all these layers and all this very Christmassy. The scenery was beautiful. It even had like a train. It had the train. You know how Christmas. I love Christmas trains. It's my grandfather's thing. So it even had the train station in the story, and it was a part of actually the story. So 100% worth watching if you have not seen it. But to me, it was one of my favorites. It's on my DVR. I have watched it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, that sounds so good. I know the CBS ones I haven't watched yet. Like, those are on my list, and they look so good. With the other one with Tyler Hilton, and the other one, and then I take that back. I did watch Fit for Christmas with Paul Green and Amanda Kloots, and that was good. So I need to watch the other 2.
I will tell you, to me, Must Love Christmas is better than Fit for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Like
I know, I'm writing down your list too, so I can go back and like really watch the ones that you recommend, because I know we love them so much.
It's so good. It really is so good. All right. Number 3. What is your number 3 movie?
Okay, well, you and me have had a few of the same. My number 3 is Ghost of Christmas Always. Obviously, the Kim Matula, Ian Harding, Lori Tanchin, Reginald VelJohnson. And let me tell you, for me, like, first of all, Lori Tanchin was just hysterical. I mean, she was so sassy. I just loved her. But let me tell you, like, I honestly, this whole season, I think this movie had me sobbing the most, like, and I don't even mind to say it, like, when I found out she was the final assignment overall, and she was like she died obviously helping people at Christmas, like, and that was her, like, I was like, what a twist, like, are you kidding me right now? Like, and then when she got to go, like, I was sobbing when she went through that tunnel, the final tunnel into the unknown. And she was like, in this movie, like I told you when you said it, like, everybody, like, was just, they're still talking about it. I mean, I love their connection. I mean, Kim Matula, I hope they bring her back. She was phenomenal. Yes. Ian Harding was just great. I mean, he played a really good. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was like, wasn't he good? He was so
good. He played such a conflicting, like, he was so conflicted, and he played that character so well. I mean, like, you could tell, like, he wanted to follow in the footsteps of his grandpa, and he had that good heart, but he still wanted to be, make his dad proud. And a lot of us, a lot of people in life do go through that. Like, they want to keep their parents proud. They want to just, hear that someone's proud of them, but, like, it's conflicting because it kind of goes against their values, all that kind of thing. And I just loved, and it made me sob too when we found out that, like, she was his grandma's best friend. And then and when they dedicated, when she finally got into the unknown, and they dedicated the restaurant to her, and then they flip-flopped it, and then they dedicated it to the best friend. I was just a mess, like. And then when they said she was, and then when Reginald VelJohnson was like, "Don't you get it? You're the final assignment," and I was like, "Oh my God, it's like a assignment in an assignment," and I'm just like, and then when they said the whole time they couldn't figure out, because like you said when you said yours on number 6, you said that they couldn't figure out why he was so nice. He wasn't like supposed to be Scrooge. When they came back. And they were like, "Oh yeah, so how was your time with Robert?" And they were like, no,
Right.
Peter, what are you talking about?
Right.
And so when I was like, wait a minute, it was supposed to be the dad, I was like
Dad.
dumbfounded. I was like, that was what was supposed to happen. Like just a blanket of emotion. I mean, it was so good. It flowed. I didn't get bored. It was like, and I love when they snapped back. I love that, like, for me, I'm a sucker for like the magical Christmas movie. I love when they have magic in a movie, like they're snapping back and forth, and just the comedic timing of Lori Tan-Chin, the softness of Reginald Val Johnson, the humor, her being like, it was just so good. Like I can't even form words. Like it was just, I mean, it easily could have been number one for me. Like that's how many good ones there were this year. Like she was the fun, and we don't get stuff like this, right? We don't get stories like that. Like, I mean, there, like you said, there's a lot of Scrooged ones, but, and I love how they did a shout out to the It's a Christmas Carol one, because they were like, oh yeah, the Scrooge and then the Carrie Fisher one, so that was kind of fun. But this, and I hate to say it, like, I don't know how you feel, but for me, like, some, not the ones I just said, but like there's so many Scrooge movies, like, and that kind of thing, like some of them aren't done as well, you know. And like, so this one, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, they're doing another Scrooge movie. I was like, I wonder how it's gonna fit in with everything. But it was like, I was just flabbergasted. And they had that Halloween weekend, and I'm like, this is how, like, we're only what, a week in, and this is like what we're getting. And I was just like, wow, they have just over the top. Like, I'm just flabbergasted. Like, it was so good. And when she was the final assignment, I just lost it. That was it for me. I sobbed. It was so good.
It was so good. I like you, like I said, they've changed the formula. Remember, that's one of the movies that normally would be like kind of towards Christmas.
Exactly.
But now they're coming out the box with
they're throwing them in like nobody's business.
Yeah. Powerhouse movies.
And the trio of them, I just loved how, like, they fit so good. Lori, Reginald, and her as a team, they were like, it was so flawless. Like, I cannot say enough good things, and I've already watched it like 3 times this year already. So it was just so good. I just loved all, like, and I mean, I hate to say it, I was kind of annoyed at the dad. Like, remember how you said on the All I Didn't Want for Christmas, she kind of annoyed you for a minute. I'm like, why are you so bitter and cold to the dad? I'm like, your son is trying. And then the guy, real quick, one of the associates was like, you were giving out sandwiches in the parking lot. There's not much that's going to help. I'm so glad your dad talked you into a good way. And I'm like, so helping people is something bad? Like, what kind of line was that? So the dad drove me crazy. Like, your son is trying to be, and he was like, well, you're just like my father, his grandpa. He lost everything. And I love the line he said, the son, he said, Ian Harding, he said, I would rather be broke and do something good than be rich and be broken. And it's true, you know. And I just love that, because you know, we should help people. Like, you know, it's not all about money and stuff. So the dad kind of made me mad, but then he came around, and I love that. And the last thing, I love the lady they Scrooged in the beginning, because it was funny in the very beginning of the movie. Like, she came out running like, I've been cured, and they're like, shush up, lady, I'm trying to sleep. And so that was kind of fun. They had her at the beginning or at the end trying to help the dad and things like that. So it was a all the way around kind of movie. It was just, I mean, so good. I really hope they put that one on DVD next year. So, because I'm gonna buy it the second it comes out on pre-order.
Seriously, that was so good. That's one of my favorites. So my number 3 movie is probably going to be a surprise to you that it's number 3, but it's not going to be a surprise to you that it's so high up. And I know this in many people's books was the number 1 movie.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say. Yep, I think you know what
you're going to say. It was not the number 1 for me. It was high. It's high. But it's not my number 1.
Oh, let's hear it.
I will explain later. And my number 3 is 3 Wise Men and a Baby. That's my number 3
not number
movie.
one.
It's not my number one. I have a different number one, and
And that was the one
yeah,
you
I
were
just
looking forward to the most in our preview
I was
episode.
so. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, so many movies that were on the early episode like fizzled out for me for some
I know,
reason
me
or another.
too.
Like
That's so funny.
it was so funny. I was anticipating like so many movies, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this was some of my most anticipated, and I can barely make it through this
I know.
movie. So Three Wise Men and a Baby, Hallmark movie, obviously, like the top rated movie, the top. I think it had like the most, the largest audience of any Christmas movie this season. Andrew Walker, Tyler Hines, Paul Campbell. Written, I think it was written, at least partially written and directed by Kimberly Susted. Like
Yeah,
this
Paul
had
Campbell,
all the
really.
yeah, so it was like all the makings of a number one Hallmark movie. For me, like it was so good. I absolutely loved it. One of the things I loved most about it was like the dance scene.
Oh, that was hysterical.
To me, the dance scene was, I mean, like I already loved it, and then they did the dance scene. Two things, like the L costumes when they did the picture.
Oh, that was
And
so
then
funny.
the dance scene, and then the ending. And I have to say, like to me, this was like a step for like a positive step for Hallmark in terms of, because we've seen single mothers, but we've not often seen single moms with like brand new babies, right?
Right.
We've not seen the brand new baby single mom. To me, that was a step. That was definitely a different step for Hallmark, and so high praise to them for that, because that's definitely not part of their formula. You know, having the brand new baby and no daddy, right? It's like, where's the daddy? So so yeah, no, I absolutely loved Three Wise Men and a Baby. This was so good for all the reasons. I'm sure it's gonna be higher on your list, so I'm not gonna linger on this too long. I know this is higher on your list, but for me it hit number 3. All right, number 2. What's your number 2 movie?
Okay, so I have to say this is the only time on my list there's a double, because I tried to move it. It could not go lower. It could not go higher. They both had to be said. But so my first number 2 is Haul Out the Holly with Lacey Chabert, Wes Brown, Melissa Peterman, and everybody. That one for me was just freaking hysterical. Like, as much as we love Christmas movies, I love how high energy and hysterical the Christmas committee was. Everybody in the HOA, and I'm sitting here going, why can't I live somewhere like that, where like my neighbors are just as enthusiastic as I am? Like, is that just a dream or what? But I love that, like, you know, a lot of these movies, of course, like they have, you know, like good comedic timing. They have like but like I felt like this one, like throughout the whole movie, it was just a comedy, and that's what they were striving for when they were, you know, promoting it and stuff. But like Wes Brown, like measuring the height of the Nutcracker, saying like, this isn't high enough, and then I love
he really played a different role for him.
He did. Yeah,
like this guy, he normally plays like the cool, hot guy. He does not play like this kind of nerdy OCD guy, right?
Right. And so I really loved his past movies, but I felt like in Every Time a Bell Rings and a Nashville Christmas Carol, I felt like they were still great, but like it didn't really showcase him. Like, he didn't have as much like as he could have had as far as like showing his skills, let's say. So I kind of loved that, like, because he was kind of like even though he was the main character in those movies, he kind of was a secondary character, you know, because Every Time a Bell Rings, it was the sisters storyline that was kind of more, and Nashville Christmas Carol, it was kind of like secondary. So I really love that they showcased him more in this movie. And I love Melissa Peterman. I mean,
Yes.
She is so freaking funny. Like, I love her as Barbara Jean and Reba that we already talked about, because that was both on our list, the Holly, and I loved her in Baby Daddy on Freeform. So when she was in this and she played the most perfect, like, high strung, like, I gotta be better than everybody person. Like, when she won the cookie competition and she was like, oh my god, and she couldn't function, and they were like, sit her down, like, she just needs to sit down. She's like, oh my god, I can't believe it, oh my god. I was dying. Like, that was so freaking funny. Like, it was just so good. I mean, it was, and some people, I mean, I guess it just depends on your preference, right? Like, some people had a problem with the movie. I mean, it was really high praise, but some people had a problem with the movie in the sense that, like, they felt like it was too over the top, you know, like, some people were like, what cul-de-sac or community really even acts like that? And I wanted to be like, well, if you find a bunch of people like me who loves Christmas, it's easily construed. I mean, it could happen, but so some people didn't like it, but that was, like, not the vast majority. So many people loved it, and I love comedies, right? Like, of course, I love all the different, like, genres in Hallmark, but I love to laugh. I mean, there's nothing better than a Christmas comedy at Christmas time, and you just want to laugh and, you know, have a good time and disappear for 2 hours while you're watching this movie. So I had to have that one, and I couldn't not have it on the list and bump it. So that was my first number 2, but it was so funny. I couldn't have got any better, honestly.
So good, so good. I agree. I loved that movie. It is not my number 2, but it would have certainly been on my top 20 if I had a longer list.
I know. And then my second number 2, I originally put this as number 2, and then I forgot about Haul Out the Holly. I was going through all my, like, list of, like, you know, the printable schedules of all 3 stations, like, all over, and I'm like, I forgot Haul Out the Holly, so that's kind of like where it got put in. But my number 2, that was like my number 1 for number 2, I guess you could say, is, and this was very well could have been number 1, is The Holiday Sitter with Jonathan Bennett and George Krista. And I love that it was the first both male lead. I love the inclusion. I just love it. And it's funny because when they were starting to try to go in this direction, I was like, Jonathan Bennett has to be the first. He has to be in the first male lead role. Like, absolutely. So, but for me, exactly right. And so for me, this one, like, they did it in such a way that was like, not that anything they would have done would have been tasteless. I don't feel that way, but, like, they did it in such a way that it was so organic. It was so natural. It was so smooth. Like, it just flowed. I mean, you literally could, like, my heart was, like, bursting out of my chest. Like, I don't think I've ever smiled so much through a movie. Like, I was laughing. I was so proud of the both of them. Like, it's kind of like with Ghost of Christmas Always, like, just, I was in such a good mood. And, like, it was so funny too, because when he said, like, his niece, he goes, I'll pay you $50 to stop making that face right now. Like, why is she making that face when she's like, I'm dead, like, I need 10 cakes. Like, it was just so darn funny. And, like, my favorite part of the movie was when he had his, like, designer shoes that gay guys would wear. And so I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, and he goes, nice, blah, blah, blah. He said the name of it, and Jonathan Bennett character goes, how do you know there are these? And that moment when it clicked for him that he was, like, gay too, he was like, oh, and his face was just priceless. And, like, in the end of it, when he tells his sister that he said, oh, for you it's always been, you know that you've always wanted to be a parent, but he goes, for me, for the first time in my life, it could be a maybe. Like, their conversation was so heartfelt. I mean, I was sobbing. Like, I felt overjoyed. You felt like you were a part of their journey. Like, and I love the family dynamic. Like, I don't think they could have possibly done the first male lead movie any better. Like, it was just, I've literally watched it like 5 times this year so far. Like, It's so good.
It was so good.
I'll put it to fall asleep to, like, and I just love that they show, because obviously we know there's haters in the world, like, and it drives me crazy, but like some people that felt a certain way even said, I seen them say, like, even though I may not agree with it, this movie actually helped me understand it more. Like it was like it was a broad, like, it hit everything. Like, it was just so beautifully done, and I was just beaming with joy. Like, it was so good. And George Chrisa was amazing. I really hope they bring him back for more movies because he was really good. But yeah, those are, I had to put. Right, I know. Well, because I think they did set that up, because what I was just about to say was they never said if they ended up adopting. Because remember, that's his whole goal. George Chris's character was that he wanted to adopt. So I'm hoping they were kind of like nonchalantly setting up number 2. I hope so. We'll see. But that movie just had me beaming with joy. I mean, I'm straight, but like, I want everyone to be happy in life, and it was just so good. I just loved it to pieces.
I'm with you on every aspect of that movie. I loved it. Like I said, had a list of 20.
Right, had we had some more room, it would have made it.
That would have been on my list for sure, because I loved it so much, and for all the reasons that you said. And what the humor! They gave him some really killer lines. Like, they were so funny. They were just hysterical. The one without, I'll give you $50. What parent? I know I pay my son $200 to quit making faces sometimes. Today, I would have probably paid him.
Right, you can relate.
So it was so good for me. But my number 2 movie is probably going to be kind of a shocker, because like, this one was not like high praise, like, in Twitter land. But I loved it. It connected with me. So it's my list. A Tale of Two Christmases.
Oh,
it's
dang
a
it.
Hallmark movie with Catherine Burrell and Chandler Massey. Now, Catherine, we know last year she was in one of the Godwink movies, right? And then
Miracle of Love.
Was my number 1 movie from last year. He was in Next Stop Christmas.
So good.
That was my number 1 movie last year. So I love this movie. So here's the reason why I connected so with it. It reminded me of Sliding Doors, a Gwyneth Paltrow movie, years ago. So this is old, kind of old. Like, there are probably people maybe listen to the show that are younger than this movie. It's been out for a long time, but Sliding Doors was when basically Gwyneth Paltrow kind of has a day. It's not a good day necessarily, but basically she misses a train. She either can catch a train and her life goes one way, she misses the train, her life goes another way. And so basically the whole movie shows her living these two kind of lives, two different lives. One where she misses the train, and one where she misses the train, and then one where she catches the train. I don't want to get into it in case somebody wants to watch it. It is on HBO Max right now. So if you want to see it, you have HBO Max, and you want to see Sliding Doors, and you want to see why I love A Tale of Two Christmases so much, then you can look at Sliding Doors. But anyway, so A Tale of Two Christmases is basically, it's very, very similar in that Catherine kind of gets to this point in her life, and right before the Christmas holiday, and her life splits, and she either catches a flight or she misses the flight. And if she misses the flight, her life goes one way, and if she catches the flight, it goes another way. But in the end, it all kind of comes back. It basically says that no matter how your life goes, whatever is destined to happen, like, you're going to end up there. No matter which path you take, you're going to end up in your destiny. And that was the message of Sliding Doors, and that was the message of A Tale of Two Christmases for me. I absolutely love this movie. I think I connected with it because of Sliding Doors, but to me, it was just well acted. It was good. I love seeing the two sides of her life and everything, and it's probably a little more drama than comedy, but it was still, it was a Hallmark movie, so it was still good. And it was still funny, but it just wasn't, as heavy comedy as I'm used to. But I still loved it. I just loved it. This is one that is still on my DVR. I love this movie. I have seen it so many times. So that is my number two, A Tale of Two Christmases. All right, now we are down to the number one movie. What is your number one movie, Brittney?
Well, do you want to take a guess what my number one movie is? I mean, you already knew what it was.
I already knew.
And it actually was my number one that I was most looking forward to in our November preview show.
Yeah.
But for giggles, my number one movie is Three Wise Men and a Baby, obviously. Tyler Hines, Paul Campbell, Andrew Walker, and I honestly don't think I've ever laughed so much in my entire life in a Hallmark movie. I love that they did it in the sense that, like you said, kind of like it was a single mom, and Paul Campbell said in an interview, he said that, like, normally if you found out that a mom dropped off a baby at a fire station, that, you would feel kind of like, why'd you do that? So they said they kind of wanted to make it where, like, you would be more sympathetic to her, like, understand, that parenting is hard. So they kind of wanted to show that kind of aspect, which I really liked. And it was just so funny. I mean, they had the brothers pinged really well. And Paul had said that, like, why it was so successful too is, like, in movies, people write a script, right? And most of the time they just write their script, like, they're not necessarily writing it for a specific character, like a person that they know is going to act. They just write it, and then the people come in later. But he said why this one was so successful, amongst other reasons, is the fact that he knew he was writing the specific role for Tyler. He knew, and they're all really good friends. Andrew and Tyler are cousins in real life, so he knew.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, so actually, Andrew is married to Cassandra, and Cassandra is Tyler Hines' first cousin.
Shut the front door.
Yes, so they are actually cousins by marriage, like real life. And so when I would say that, people are like, no, they're not. Well, yeah, actually, Andrew married Tyler's cousin, so they actually are family along with friends. And so Andrew is the reason why Tyler got into Hallmark. So it's so funny that they're like the top leading men now, both of them. But Paul knew that he was, like I said, he knew he was writing the role for Tyler. They're all good friends, and so, like, he could write it like how he was gonna act. And it was so funny, as you know, like when Tyler was trying to get baby formula and all that, and he's like, we're gonna have to evacuate the store. Like, I was laughing. Right. And so a lot of movies, like, I'm really busy, so, like, sometimes I don't, like, during the Christmas season, I didn't get to watch, like, all the movies live. I would record them and I'd go back, but this one I had to watch live, and I was live tweeting with everybody, and, like, it was so funny. I mean, when he grabbed the wrong baby, when they were arguing, when they were doing the dance, when they were spraying each other, trying to give the baby a bath, like, that dance, it was just, like, I can't, like, and they did the characters well, like Tyler Hines being the video game guy, and it was just so funny, like, and they actually said that, like, not only was it it's not the most viewed Hallmark movie ever, which I was hoping it was going to break that record, but it was the highest rated movie across, like, all of the cable, not just, like, Hallmark and like across Saturday night and stuff. And they were breaking record after record. I mean, it was just so good. And the Kimberly Sustad cameo, I was like, I tweeted that real quick, and everyone was tweeting like, Kimberly, oh my God, like freaking out. And so it was just so good. And I want to start a petition. I want to start I vow, I want Paul Campbell and Kimberly Sustad to write, like, let's just say a 10th of Hallmark's movies. Can we just have them?
I said that.
Yeah, and you did too. Yeah, like, can they just write all of these, please? Because every movie they write is just like amazing. But no, I mean, and it wasn't even necessarily like the fact that like it wasn't the fact that like just because the actors it was going to be the best movie. It was the best movie because like of who the actors were, and they're just so good. I mean, like, so many people are saying like now they want to have the girls version of like Erin Krakow, Nikki DeLoach, Kimberly Sustad, like, so I'm really excited to see if like this opens doors. Like, are we gonna have a sequel with Paul, Tyler, and Andrew? Are we gonna have a girl kind of like an MCU, like Marvel but Hallmark universe type of like movie and stuff? But for me, I always knew it would probably be number one, but then when I see it, like, I was crying. Like, I was laughing so hard. The people everyone in the house was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like snorting from laughing so hard. And at one point, I had to stop. I had to pause the movie because I couldn't catch my breath. Like, I was crying, and I've never laughed that hard at any Hallmark movie. I really haven't. So it's really fun to put on when you're having, like, if you have a bad day, or it's just so good. And for me, I was kind of bummed because, real quick, Tyler had his own movie this year, Andrew had his own movie, and then they had this. So, and I love Paul. This was the first time in, I think, what was it, like 4 or 5 Christmases Paul didn't have his own movie. So I was just grateful we got him at all because, you know, I love him. And so I'm like, why isn't he getting a second movie also? But I was just happy he was in one in general. And it's just, I can't even, I mean, you don't really need to, you can just say the title and it speaks for itself, you know, we just know how funny it is.
It was so good. And I can't say, it was earlier on my list. It was number 3 on my list, right? So,
hey, that's still pretty high.
That's still pretty high. Seriously. And given the top 3, it was almost impossible. Like, these could have been in almost any order.
I know. I can't wait to see your number 1 now. I mean, if that's not your number 1, I can't wait.
It's not my number 1. And my number 1 is probably going to be kind of a shocker because it's a little romantic, but it's not like a romance. My number 1 is Spirited from Apple TV.
Oh, I don't have Apple, and I'm so sad I couldn't see that one. Everyone said it was so good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's so many things to say about this movie.
But tell me about it.
Ryan Reynolds, Octavia Spencer, Will Ferrell, right? And there is a romance in this movie, but it is like a kind of maybe subplot, right? It's not like the main story. So the main story is it's a Dickens retelling. But here's what you'll find interesting about this, will make you want to watch it. It's like The Ghost of Christmas Always.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah,
I read
that. Okay.
But it's a musical.
Oh, okay. Now, woo. That takes it up another notch.
Yes. So for me, I love musicals. Like, I am a big musical buff, and I've watched musicals from like way back. So when I see musical, I'm automatically in. But then, so it was funny. I watched A Ghost of Christmas Always first, and then I watched this, and I was like, these movies are so much alike, it's almost scary. They're alike, but they're different. It's weird, but they're so much alike. It's like the League of the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future. Like, that kind of concept is in both of them, but it's a very different story. Because the Scrooge guy is really a Scrooge guy, right? But there are so many twists and turns in the story. It's just amazing. Now, I will say, there is language in this one that you will not find in a Hallmark movie.
Right.
So, just I'll set your expectations there. It's not Hallmark clean, but the music, the dancing, the story, the romance, the Dickens part of the story, like you put all that together. I was amazed. I was amazed at how good this was. It was so good, and the twist and but what I will say is, knowing how much you like A Ghost of Christmas Always, like watching Spirited is a must. You have got to find a way to see that movie.
I know. I need to get Apple somehow.
And tell me how you feel about it when you see it, because knowing how much you love that, honestly, I loved it. Ghost of Christmas Always, and when I watched Spirited, I was like, oh, wow, but then it's not. It's a very, very different movie, but there are a lot of similarities between the movies.
And to add a musical on top of like that concept is like out of this world.
and there is and there's the dance scenes are just so phenomenal. The music is so phenomenal. It's very diverse. Like there's a lot of diversity in the cast, and even in the starring cast, and in the dance cast. And there's a diversity in music. So it's just amazing. That 100% is. That's why it was hard for me. And I have watched Spirited. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched that movie over the Christmas.
Oh, I love that.
I have watched it so many. There'll be times, this is the movie like I would turn on and fall asleep to. Like, because I loved it so much, and I would just fall asleep watching it because I'd be tired, but I wanted it on. It's like, it's that movie for me. So Spirited is my number one movie. I would advise if anyone out there who, if your tender ears can handle a little bit of language, it's not, all the time 100% through the whole movie, but there are some words. If you can handle those words, I promise you will love the music and the story and there is such a twist. And I literally gasped at one point. I was like, oh, it's that kind of thing. Oh, it's so good. I can't even tell you how good that is. So, and it surprised me because I thought I was going to like it, but I didn't know I was going to like it that much.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about, like, everybody, Rotten Tomatoes, like, everything. It got really, really good reviews.
It was shockingly good. Shockingly good.
Oh, sorry, what I was going to say is the only thing I want to talk about with you for a second. Did you notice this year all the cameos in all these different movies? I have... Especially
in Hall of the Holly.
Yeah, right? So
it's
so good. I have the list right here. So just in Haul Out the Holly was obviously Christopher Palaha, which was so good. They even had Eric Mabius in there too.
In Haul Out the Holly.
Exactly. And she gave out a nod to Brennan Elliott. They had Christmas in Vienna on, and she was like, oh, I love that guy. Yes. And so I love that they did that. And I don't know if you've seen my Southern Family Christmas with J.C. Elliott and Ryan Rotman, but Wes Brown was in that.
Yes.
And then they had obviously Kimberly Sustad in Three Wise Men and a Baby, which I said. And then they had Jonathan Bennett in When I Think of Christmas with Niall Mater and
because I didn't see that movie. That's why. I didn't see it all the way through.
Oh, okay.
I fell asleep on it.
Yeah, and then in We Wish You a Merry Christmas, Pascal Hutton was in it. She was the marriage coach.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I saw that one and I saw it all the way through, and until you just said that, I really didn't.
I know it's hard. And then
Yeah.
there's two more in Christmas Class Reunion with Amy Teagarden. Chris McNally was the elf when
Yes.
they went to go
Let me
to
tell you something.
Santa,
I
and then
love Amy Seagar and everything
oh,
too.
I
She's
know,
another
and
one.
I can't think of his name right now. The lead guy in uh, I can talk. Christmas Class
Christmas Past
Reunion.
Reunion.
That was
Yeah.
good too. It was a whole bunch of
So
Tanner Novlin was his name. He was good too.
yeah.
I hope they bring him back. And then the other cameo, which was so awesome, in 5 More Minutes, Moments Like These with Ashley Williams and Lucas Bryant, they had Nikki DeLoach. She came in as a cameo also.
That's what I'm gonna have to catch if they run it
I
again.
know.
I did not see that.
And it was so funny
It was
because when Ashley was filming that movie, her and Nikki did like a little TikTok together when they were slow walking across the road, and I was like, I bet you something's going on with her movie. And I love when they do the cameos. I think that's so fun, especially with like Eric Mabius, who wasn't in a Hallmark Christmas movie this year, or Pascal Hutton, she wasn't in a Hallmark Christmas movie. So I love that, like, even though Hallmark didn't pick them or maybe their schedules didn't allow,
Yeah.
I love that we get to see them anyway, just even for a little
agree.
second.
You know who I missed this year was Bethany Joy Lenz.
Yes.
I wanted to see her so much, and
And
I missed her. But she's like, it's the first movie coming out this season.
A Biltmore
for the
Christmas
2020 season.
with Christopher
Yeah.
Polaha, and I'm so excited
Yes.
they're filming actually at Biltmore. It's going to be so good.
Yes.
And it's another time travel movie.
Yes.
So that's going to be
looks like
so... And it's weird how Hallmark does that, because also, now that you mentioned Bethany Joy Lenz, she had one in 2020 and 2021. Her 5-Star Christmas, and then obviously An Unexpected Christmas. Rachel Lee Cook also had a movie in 2020 and then 2021, Cross Country Christmas, and 'Tis the Season to Be Merry, and they didn't have her back for 2022 also. And Janelle Parrish too. She was in Holly and Ivy, and then she was in Coyote Creek Christmas. And I'm like, where are all our like original? And then Alicia Witt, she wasn't in a movie for the first time in like 6 years last year.
Yes.
And 2020, but I guess she said that they just didn't ask her, so that hopefully that means this year they will. But I'm like, why can't you bring our I mean, they still had a lot of fun ones, but our really favorite people, some of them they didn't have, so that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, that was truly a bummer. But like you say, I hope they come back with them this year.
They've never announced the Christmas movie that early either for Hallmark. They just announced it before the new year even turned.
Seriously, I was like, they're reeling us in for next year. But I hope it's like more better than ever. Like, and they're starting off great. So like, anything else is gonna kind of be a letdown for me, because those are like two of my.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if you.
Like,
oh, I don't know if you heard. They have a show coming out that's called Holidays. Have you heard of that?
No.
Yeah, so what it is, it's a TV show, and it's for Christmas time, and it's called Holidays, and it's about a neighborhood. It's technically 6 families living in the same cul-de-sac, deal with the highs and lows of the holidays, and it's got Erin Cahill, Ian Harding that's supposed to be in it, Giles Panton is reportedly in it, and so yeah, it's a TV show, and they actually filmed it this last September until December. 3 months they filmed, and it's like all the families in this little cul-de-sac, and it's like a TV Christmas show for Hallmark that's supposed to come out this year. And reportedly, yeah, and there's also a rumor going around they're going to do a Gift to Remember 3 with Allie Lieber and Pierre Fort. Yeah, that's a rumor, but hopefully it's a pretty good rumor, so we'll see. So this coming up, so this 2023, we've already got. I know they're not messing around. They've already got a Biltmore Christmas. Holidays is for sure. So I'm just for those two, I'm super excited. I just had to share that with you real quick because I'm like really excited
Same.
about it.
No, that's amazing, amazing news. Obviously, I'm not. I'm a little behind, but that's
Right.
awesome.
I know. So
That's
we'll
really
see.
awesome.
2023, we're ready for you.
Yeah, we are ready to go. Well, it has been so great having you back on this show. So I think I am going to have to split this into two because we have been on for a while.
I know.
But
Sorry,
I
we got a
am
little
just
sidetracked.
no, both of us, right? So, but anyway, so I'm just so happy to have you back on the show. And of course, we're coming into season 4, so I am hoping that we can do it all again next season. I'm very excited. So thank you for joining us today, Brittney. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always so much fun.
And that is going to do it for today. Thank you so guys for listening in for our season wrap-up show. The top 12 most loved of the season, honestly. This was a great season and I cannot wait for season 4. Thank you to my show editor and music editor, Will B. He created all the custom music for this show. He's at Wildcard Music, and you can find his IG page in the show notes. Until next time, remember, at Chicks on Christmas Flicks, we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have enough Christmas movies. Please don't forget to subscribe. Leave a review on your favorite platform and tell all of your Christmas movie loving friends about this show. Where can you find us? I'm so happy you asked. You can find us on all podcast platforms: Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, and many, many more. Just check out the link below and you will see everywhere that you can reach out and get us. Please follow us on Twitter at Chicks on Christmas Flicks with all X's, and on IG at Chicks on Christmas Flicks with all X's. Thank you for listening in, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks to kick off season 4. This is going to be the best season ever, and especially as we head up to Christmas in July, which, it sounds far away, but time is moving so fast and it's not so far as we think. So everybody, please stay plugged in and